Hi, we're with our guest today, John Thompson, a longtime friend of the clubhouse. And I know our audience would like to know, firstly, how you got to know about the clubhouse.
Well, I was taking a course over in the business school at Case,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a project that the whole school had to do,
Mm-hmm.
something to do with University Circle, and then you had to choose your project, and my teacher
Kind of getting to know the community or something?
Yeah. And my teacher came to me after about 2 weeks. He said, "Well, you haven't picked a project yet. You're really behind, and they're just about all gone. All I got for you now is this Magnolia Clubhouse."
Oh, wow, that's really great.
I said, "It's okay." So I did it, as did, there was one, an undergraduate student at Case who came with me, and he also was late picking his project.
Oh, wow.
But and so our project was to make a film about Magnolia Clubhouse, and so we hung around a lot, and we made our film.
And what was the title of that?
God, I can't even remember.
Well, I'm asking you that because I know it was the secret success in the circle.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, it was yes.
You've seen it. I've endured some harsh criticism on that film from here. Chuck said that, we made too much of a difference between the staff and the members in there. It's one for all, and I understand that. And so if I had it to do over, we might have done things just a little bit different. But the interesting part about it was that we had to present our projects at the business school when we were done. And so there I was standing up in front of the business school students, and I said, I gotta tell you that I'm not really comfortable here in the business school. I'm 10 times more comfortable over at Magnolia Clubhouse.
Oh, wow.
And I just, I said, I don't know if I'm the only one here that feels that way, but belonging is a good way to feel. And so when I was here, I felt like, oh, I belong here. There's a reason for me to be here, and the people have been very nice to me here. And in the years that followed, I still drop by, and I am interested in the work that you're doing here, and so that's kind of how But it was just because of that freaky assignment that I ended up here.
Happy accident, right?
Yeah, and you were here then, and
I was just going to ask you, Chuck was saying that I guess you helped us with our first video, isn't that right?
Some of the
Do you,
stuff on the
do you
computer.
recall that or
Yeah.
no?
Yes, I do. I don't remember the exact nature, but I am kind of a Mac guy, and I know how to do some stuff. I see you got a newer Mac, finally. Well, the other one's still there, I see, but they're both working.
We use them both.
Yeah. But, and this is one of the coolest, one of the aspects of the clubhouse that, is very interesting to me, because really, your TV shows from here, your news from here, that's something that like a lot of colleges would be jealous to have set up, and the talent that you guys have here, so.
Okay. Well, what when you first came here, what was your impression of the clubhouse?
Well, I think I kind of, I wasn't uncomfortable here. I come from a background where, I've been in some bad situations in my life, and, sort of worked to get out of those, and I feel like, and other people helped me do it. I had to work with others in order to make myself better. And so when I'm in here, I sort of feel there's a similar model at work. I can't, I'm not here every day, so I can't tell you guys your business. But yeah, I kind of felt like there's all kinds of people here.
Yeah.
And everybody brings their own skills and
Personality.
yeah. But I didn't really see anything that made me feel uncomfortable or anything when I was here. Because I feel like everybody's kind of coming to get what they need and sort of finding it. And then, maybe I should
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. But I guess the idea of belonging, which is what I get out of it, I think that's what a lot of other people, and a lot of the members get. It's good to belong with others, So I guess, but I was impressed by how everybody's pitching in, whether it's in this unit or I forget what the names of things, but the office.
The hospitality and business units.
Right, yeah, and so everyone has a place, so that's good.
Now, how, if at all, has your impression developed or changed throughout the years? I don't know if if it hasn't, it hasn't, because like you said, you're not here all the time, but
Yeah,
you might have had a different sense of things.
Yeah,
Don't be afraid to say no, it hasn't. but-
no, well, no, some things are, I know some things have changed because, I know that the business model of the whole thing has changed a little bit,
You mean that we're independent or something, or?
Well, you became independent from, what was it called,
Bridgeway.
Right. And that's your building next door, and you got
yeah.
Bloomin' now, that wasn't here when I
Yeah.
first came,
Right.
and you're working on things having to do with therapy and health clinic here. Those are new. That stuff's probably needed, but I'm not as interested in. I'm not as interested in that actually, because if I want to see, but it's just, they're important things.
Oh, yeah.
And they're important services, but down the street, there's medical, there's, this kind of thing, and it's so big I can't understand it. What I'm mostly interested in is what happens in the clubhouse. And you guys have a pretty strict, my understanding or my feeling is, you have a pretty strict model for clubhouses that
we have the international standards, which there are 30 or a little over 30. To be a certified clubhouse,
Yeah.
you have to meet those standards.
Okay, well, I guess I kind of agree with those standards, and I haven't, I couldn't recite them to you.
No,
We saw
I
one
can't do it
on the
either,
screen
so.
just now, but when we have those, then we can stay focused on, sort of the primary purpose, whatever that happens to be. And so, to me, I like that, that these new things are coming, and we can care for people's, health needs, and therapy needs, but I also think the basic thing that you're providing, that's really that's the golden ticket here. Because really, like, you talk about, you guys have the work placements, I forget what you call that.
Teas.
Yeah, and these are more successful than most or all, government employment programs, and so you obviously got something that works. So we always have to, I feel that organizations always have to look to things that are new, that are coming, but or that are tried, maybe not so, they're untried as yet, but at the same time, if you have good core principles and you stick to them, that seems to work. So, but I gotta say, around all of this, that I haven't spent as much time around here as I used to. I guess I have more free time, you know, my kids are getting older,
Oh.
you know, they're filling it up with stuff. So I don't know everything that's going on, but every time I come here, I just feel like,
How old are they?
my kids, so
Yeah.
12 and 15.
Oh, okay, they're adolescents now.
Oh, yeah, so this is where the trouble starts.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, it's just when they first start to think, hey, I don't have to do what Dad does, I got my own.
That wonderful
way."
idea. I remember.
So,
Okay, so you've had a fairly long association with us. So, anything specific that's kept your interest up, or? Because I don't know if you care if I mention it, that you've donated a lot over the years. Does
well,
that bother you that I mention it?
but no, but I don't, you know, I don't really deserve a big pat on the back
No,
either.
I'm not
but-
panning you,
Well,
but I'm just,
yeah, well, if there is some extra money around the house, you know, everybody wishes there was more, but if there is, and, you know, I can help, or, you know, my family also has helped,
right.
and, but we're on a new program in the family now where we kind of vote on, one place in a year, and then so, yeah, it doesn't come up, you know, Magnolia isn't gonna come up, but every 5 years that way. So I have to try to figure out how I can donate. But in this case of this year, the money that I gave was probably, otherwise it was gonna make me a little bit of money, I guess. And it was gonna help some oil companies
Oh, wow.
pollute and, you know, do other bad stuff. So I feel like it was a good investment to move it over here.
Mhm.
So, but I think, again, you know, it has a lot to do with, you know, wanting to feel useful. You know, I would like to feel useful, I would like to feel helpful, and I think that's what makes me feel good. And just as in here, I think that when people have jobs in the units, they feel a part of things, they feel useful. This is how you get up and get going to do the next thing you're gonna do, is by, you know, feeling like it's useful, it's working, other people are involved with me. So, I gotta tell you, I didn't really feel that involved with the old company, they never called me about anything. So, better, you guys should have the money.
Really?
So that's, but I would like to, you know, to the degree that I can, you know, help with donations here. And I really, every time I come here, I mean, I'm a little on the spot here because you're filming me, but every time I come here, I walk away thinking I should go more often. You know, I should go more often, because I really, you know, it's weird
do you
that I
ever
know
have-
several of you for a long
I
time.
don't want to put you on the spot, but it's possible that you can come for lunch.
Well, that's one of the best things for me. It's a good deal,
I mean,
even if I have to pay. You know,
because even if you have appointments, you know,
Yeah.
because if they don't usually have them except in the morning and the
Right.
afternoon, so you can maybe squeeze some time in there.
Yep, that's a good.
I'm not pressuring you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Has your life changed in any way, specific or general, since you've been
Well-
associated with the clubhouse?
Yeah, well, yes, I think it has, because to me, this is a good model for living. You know, and I see how it works in everybody else's life, and I say, okay, I can, you know, I can live a life that's more like the one that is envisioned here, and So, I mean,
That's
I'm kind of inspired when I come here. And a lot of times, you know, in my work or, you know, other things, you know, and other sort of social obligations I have, you know, the problem of how do you get along with others, how do you have a community, you know, this is, you know, like, you know, my wife and I, we help, my wife was president of the PTO in our elementary school in our area, and we help in a lot of projects at the school. And then you're involved with a lot of parents and kids too, but the kids are easy to work with, the parents are difficult.
Parents, no, okay.
And so, like, getting along, and I think that everything that I was exposed to here was people using tools that I could reflect on and say, oh, that's how you get consensus on this, or that's how two people who, you know, on some level don't get along can work together.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I can't say that everything I know on these kind of matters comes from here, but this just sort of adds in. It adds in, it goes, oh.
I'm really glad to hear that.
So, I never, plus, you know, we like to buy some art every now and again at Bloomin', you know.
Oh,
We like
really?
Frank's stuff a lot. We got a
Mhm.
couple of his paintings up in the house,
Oh,
and we got a couple of Darlene's paintings up in the
okay,
house.
excellent.
So, yeah, we're mostly art buyers over there. You know, most of the bric-a-brac over there is too tasteful for art. You're going to a nicer home than ours, but
Okay.
you have good stuff, but it's too good. But we like the art. So,
Okay, well, before we end,
yes.
is there anything you'd like to say to our audience?
We have an audience? I thought we were just...
We were just talking.
Yeah, right. And the
Okay.
light was extremely bright. Well, I would just tell everybody who's watching that's in the clubhouse that you're in the right place, you're in a good place, and you know, these are your friends here, stick with them. And outside the clubhouse, I'd say to anybody who's watching outside, I'd say you should come down for a visit and
Yeah. Thank you.
make a donation if that's possible.
Really? Okay. Well, thank you for your support over the years, and
Right.
if there's anything that you need, just ask all of us. We'd be
Well,
happy
and
to
I
help.
have I've got a little help here and there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, and thank you guys for watching. So,